Now, for more on the Trump administration's AI plans, we're joined by Scott Schober. Scott's president and CEO at Berkeley Varitronics Systems. Welcome to the program again. Good to see you.
Great. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Now, before we get into the specifics of this plan, I'm curious your thoughts that Musk is not on board. Musk and Trump have simply been joined at the hip for months now, and he's clearly smarting a bit from Trump looking beyond the owner of Tesla, SpaceX, and X.
Yeah, and really, if you think about it, Elon was at the early stages of OpenAI and had investment and some big plans with that, and then he backed out. So he could be a little bit bitter perhaps, and he's doing his own thing now in the AI space. So that could be why he's got some negative comments toward this. But I think all in all, it's really good because it shows that there's a huge investment in AI infrastructure, which is really needed in this country.
Yeah, let's talk a bit more about that because it's quite the powerhouse, as you talked about. OpenAI, Oracle, SoftBank. Have we ever seen a trifecta of global tech leaders shoulder to shoulder before like this? And it certainly seems like it is going to be the boon, as you talked about, for AI development in the United States.
Oh, absolutely. And if we really kind of unravel the whole thing, what it's going to start to do is really create a more competitive landscape. And we all know that when there's more competition between tech companies and other countries, it makes it more attractive, more affordable. So I think it really helps in the long run if we're thinking about the advances in AI. And we have to look that way about it. And it's going to do a lot of things. There's going to certainly be economic growth because, as mentioned, he said more than 100,000 jobs created.
Right.
And admittedly, a lot of this is technical jobs. And that's good if you're somebody technical. The downside is probably slowly we're going to see some jobs that disappear that are replaced by AI. So there's some trade-offs back and forth that you have to consider. But I think the one factor that they didn't talk a whole lot about is how are they going to power all of this? When you create these data centers, and we're talking about a lot of data centers that need a lot of power, over the next 5 years, it's about $1 trillion that's going to be needed in electricity just to power all these data centers. So again, it's going to really create more jobs, more need for electricity, and that gives a big boost within the United States also.
Yeah, and that opens up the possibility of those small nuclear structures that we've read so much about. That could be very fascinating. But let's talk about some of the key goals of the AI infrastructure plan. There's no question that the U.S. wants to have the clear lead in a global AI race. If Stargate goes through, if it does get to 500 billion, if it does create 100,000 mostly tech jobs, would it do that?
Yeah, I think so. I do think this is all possible, and I think a lot of the other things that come out of this naturally are going to be exciting. Just look at the talent pool. What's going to happen is you're going to see heavy changeover in just the talent pool for STEM jobs, mathematics and science jobs that support this giant AI build-out, this infrastructure build-out. So colleges, universities, schools need to change over time in the next few years, really, so the workforce of the not-too-distant future is prepared to fulfill these jobs. So we're going to see amazing things like that, the support mechanisms for the AI infrastructure build-out.
Okay, so if you're right, and if it's full speed ahead, if all this does happen, clearly questions are going to be raised, no doubt, about AI safety, AI security, ethics, and the potential for abuse. How do you counter that? Are there concerns that it could grow just too fast? Because there are a lot of concerns about the way AI could operate.
Yeah, absolutely. And my concerns always, because I focus a lot on cybersecurity, are those security concerns. So there's going to have to be procedures and policies in place. There's going to be people that will have to oversee a lot of these policies for the reporting and making sure that the use of the technology is not abused or goes into the wrong hands. So it's a slippery slope there. As technology advances, so do the security concerns. They have to advance as fast or faster to stay one step ahead of the cyber criminals to stay safe.
You know, and it's going to be interesting, too, because there's not going to be one sweeping way to have this security, this control for all nations. I mean, it just can't happen. So the question comes, how will this investment affect U.S. relations with other global leaders in AI, such as China and the EU?
Yeah, I think that is a challenge there. And U.S. is clearly stating they want to be the dominant superpower in AI. That being said, we've heard that also from China, and we know EU wants a big piece of it. So we're really going to have a little bit of a fight going on, and it's difficult. They're not going to necessarily play fair, especially when you've got this huge number of tech companies that are entering this space. We're not just talking about these couple we mentioned here, SoftBank and Oracle and OpenAI. We've got Microsoft in there. We've got ARM in there. We've got company after company, big tech company with billions of dollars that they're going to be really putting into the pot, in a sense, between workforce and technology. And those are international companies. Most of the tech companies are US based, but they do have a strong US presence. And the workforce in China and other countries with AI experts and developers is really strong. So there has to be some sharing and collaboration between countries. Let's hope they can all play nice.